Today we think of the Disney Corporation as a huge, successful, multinational business involved in all aspects of media and entertainment, from films, television, and music to theme parks in the United States, Japan, France, and China. But like many successful enterprises, the vast Disney entertainment empire had very humble beginnings in the founder's imagination. Surprisingly, it was only after years of hard work and the opening of Disneyland in California in the mid-1950s that the company stopped borrowing money and began to make large profits. When the company made $70 million and paid off its bank loans in 1960, Walt Disney said, "For the first time the banks owe me money." Walt Disney was born poor in 1904 in the American Midwest, the very heart of the country. It was a time when society was becoming less rural and more urban, less agricultural and more industrial, but his strongest and best childhood memories would always be of the small farming town of Marceline, Missouri. Walt had little formal education but loved to draw. When he was older, he started several small advertising companies specializing in animation. All of them failed, but he never gave up. When his brother Roy moved to Los Angeles, Walt soon followed. In the 1930s, they formed Disney Brothers to make short silent films. Roy was the money man, while Walt managed the creative side of the business. He thought and lived as an artist. What mattered to him was creating something beautiful and perfect. He hired a group of talented young artists for the Disney studio and often paid himself less than his new recruits, believing, correctly, in my view, that money was simply a tool to achieve dreams, one after another. Under Walt's leadership and with little money, working long hours over many years, they produced thousands of drawings for the early animated films, Pinocchio and their masterpiece, Snow White. That was the golden age of the studio, which was not unlike the modern startups, Apple Computer or Microsoft, in their early days. In all three cases, a small group of dedicated people, working in poor conditions for little pay because they were determined and excited, changed the world. Disney turned animation, which had been just a cheap new amusement for children, into a great form of art with a place of honor in popular culture. By the end of the 1940s, the team spirit that had characterized the Disney Animation Company 10 years earlier was gone. Many of the pioneering animators had left the studio, and there were tensions between management and workers. Walt became increasingly depressed and began spending more and more time working alone in his own workshop or riding around his house on the model trains he had built. But he emerged from this period with a brilliant idea: his love for miniature railroads and machines, his interest in fairy tales, and his memories of the small town he had grown up in all came together in his mind to form a vision of a new kind of amusement park, a clean, safe place for the whole family. It would be, he dreamed, a better reality than the one outside. The year 1955 was the perfect time for the park to open. There was an economic boom and a baby boom. People looked back nostalgically to the small towns they had left but also looked ahead hopefully to the technological future. Disneyland combined both. Within a few years it had grown into the most popular tourist attraction in the western United States.